Hey everybody, welcome back another week. Thursday night, 7:30. Here we are.
And it's snowing.
Yeah, we got like a major winter storm blowing through the area tonight. So, did you bring your shovel?
No. I brought my big scraper though.
I say you might need a tow truck or something on the way home.
No. You know what? Actually, the ride up here was less than the last time we had bad weather for some reason.
Well, last time we had 11 inches of snow, so.
Well, we had that ice too, so.
That makes a difference. So down your way, it's a little white?
A little bit more snow. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, all right. We'll get a couple things out of the way here.
Absolutely. We're back for almost next week's the last show in February.
It is. This year is already flying by.
We're already 2 months into the year.
We're going to keep it cold for next week's show, anyway.
We're going to keep it cold and traveling.
We'll tell you more about that here in just a few minutes, or later in the show. All right, we need to do that quick share. And there we go.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Let's get the record going, and here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal. Everybody, host Mike Adams sitting in the cabin tonight with a little bit of snow flying around, but Dan DeFall made it up from down south.
I did make it here.
What is going on?
I tell you what, it's February. Got those, midwinter blues, but the shows are hopping.
The shows are hopping.
We got Tim. He's over in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be at Outdoorama next week.
That's right. We'll be visiting with him.
And we will. Mark Coleman's got freezing rain, and the power keeps flickering down in Indiana.
Keep it down there. We don't want it.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, it's good to, get into March, folks.
I've been thinking about, there's been a lot of talk about TAC here at the Total Archery Challenge in the last couple of weeks with registration and everything going on. We'll be registering in about a week and a half. And I'm getting that itch to break that bow out, but I got to get rid of the snow out of the backyard.
We got to get rid of the snow. I feel sorry for TAC and the troubles they're going through with their programming.
Yeah, they'll get it straightened out.
They will. It will. So, but you know what? I think we need to get through these promotions because
we got a lot of
the
stuff.
Man, the myth, the legend is waiting in the wings for me.
Okay.
I drove all the way through that snow to get here so I could do this interview with you.
All right. We'll get after it.
All right. Hey, folks, there's nothing better. Buck Bait's out there. Go to buckbaits.com. Go check out their ever-increasing lineup that they have in urines and what they have over there. And if you use the promo code UNJ20, you get 20% off your order when you cash out. Speaking of calls, jpogamecalls.com. Use the promo code UNJ10. Get 10% off your order. Check out the Omni series. Check out all the calls he has. He's got turkey calls and everything over there. Our newest sponsor. If you want 10% off your order from their website, go to the islandarmory.com. Check out what they have there for ammo, what they have in firearms. It's really cool. There's nothing like shopping.
Especially for firearms.
Exactly. And, ladies and gentlemen, freshly ground, we are having
Michigan Cherry tonight.
Michigan Cherry, and that's right, we get it from Deer Camp Coffee, and if you go to deercampcoffee.com, you can use the promo code UNJ10, and you'll get 10% off your order over there. And if we take a quick peek up in Newberry, Michigan,
What'd you do, Dan?
I hit the wrong button. There we go. I tell you what, it's 12 degrees there. What better way to spend an evening listening to Up North Journal on Facebook, going to Cedars, having a pizza, and having some Deer Camp coffee.
There you go. Big shout out to FM 123 who carries the show for us up there. But if you're into the Deer Camp coffee, don't forget we have our own label, Up North Journal Medium Roast. So when you place your order, check a bag of that out as well.
Exactly. Pick up a bag, try it, help us out. And I tell you what, I got a bag of the Lucky Huntsman, and I'll be getting you some. So
you snagged a bag?
I did.
Dude, I'm jealous.
I know, right?
I want some Irish coffee, dude.
Oh.
All right. Well, let's get right to it. Let's get right into the show tonight. We've got none other than Bobby Vargas on with us tonight for PSE, all the way from sunny Tucson. He's been bragging about shoveling sunshine while we're shoveling snow. How you doing, Bobby?
Man, I'm better than I should be. I gotta be honest with you. It's awesome out here.
Too blessed to be stressed.
That's right.
Well,
No more stress.
I tell you what, we got Mark Coleman, who's in Indiana. We got Denny Steiner, who's in Illinois. We're all complaining about the weather. You're over there shoveling sunshine and enjoying yourself.
I am.
Who you got with you tonight?
This is Chip. I hope you guys don't mind spending some time with him tonight, but man, this is they're like my second child, and if I put him down, he's gonna cry. So I'm gonna have to hold him for a little bit.
He's
awesome.
We've had many a dog on the show, so welcome to the show, Chip.
Yeah,
there he is. Look at him. Yeah, there you go, bud.
So we weren't able to make it to ATA this year, but we weren't there nobody was there the year before, right? So how you been doing?
I have been doing well. I did miss seeing everybody in 2021. We so look forward to going to those shows because I don't get to see guys like you but once a year. I know every time we do a show together, you threaten to come and see me in Tucson, but hasn't happened yet. And I'm not going to go up there with you when it's this cold, so don't even count on it. But I am doing well. I am doing really well. Another day on the right side of the ground is a great day. We are good. Things are good. PSC is doing well. We're just like every other company and manufacturer. We had our struggles over the last 2 years, getting materials, doing whatever. COVID put a big hurt on everybody. But PSC is resilient, and we're getting through it, and we're hopefully going to get past it, and hopefully all of us can put this behind us. And I don't even want to say COVID again for the rest of the show, but it happened, and let's just talk about what's going on now and what we're looking forward to in the future.
Well, I tell you, before we get going any further, we got to say happy birthday to you because you had a birthday here last week. Welcome to the club, man. Welcome to the Big 5-0 Club.
Everyone has made, making the transition to the senior class a little easier for me, just a little bit. It's been tough, but I did turn 50 last Tuesday. It's been amazing, and milestones have come and gone. 50 was a big one for me, but I got to tell you, my lovely wife made this week an amazing week for me. She made the transition so much easier for me, and so many family and friends that celebrated the birthday with me made it an amazing day for me.
That's awesome. That is awesome. But we're not seniors yet, man. We've still got a little ways to go, so we're just peeking over the horizon to it.
My mind is far from being a senior. My body feels that way. I got to tell you that much, but that just means I've had a lot of fun over the years. But my shoulders, my knees, every joint I have hurts, but I'm still young at heart. I still feel crazy young at heart. I still feel like a little kid. I joke with everybody like I'm a kid. I know my birth certificate may say I'm 50, but I'm still a kid.
Hey, archery does that to us. It keeps us, a kid at heart, definitely.
That's right.
And you know what? Speaking with you before the show, you've been with PSE now 25 years, which is now equal to half your life.
Literally half my life. February 26th, we're sitting on the 17th today, and the 26th of this month is my 25th anniversary with PSE. So yeah, half of my life and almost half of PSE's life.
How does
They're 52 years old now, and yeah, it's pretty neat.
How does it feel to be with a one company that long, and where you've seen it when you started there, where you were in what department, and to where you are today and where PSE has gone today?
It has been a pretty amazing run. It's hard for me to tell you how it feels because I don't have anything else to compare it to. But, I started there in customer service. I moved on to a product line manager. I did that for 16 years. I was the longest running product line manager for PSE. I did multiple jobs in between that, and then ultimately ended up in the marketing department where I am now. To answer your question, just short and simple, it's just been an amazing run. It's been a lot of fun. It's hard to put words into it because I just absolutely loved what I've done for the last 25 years.
Okay, so let me put it to you this way. How do you feel about what you've seen in advancements from when you started today?
That's a great question too, because I have seen so much of that, and I've been involved with a lot of that over the years too. Not a product design engineer, but because of my experience and what I've done and how long I've been there, we've been directly involved with how we want the product to look, how we want the product to perform, and that's the kind of input that I can give them, and to see those come to fruition is huge. It makes me feel really good. It sounds silly, but I've named a lot of the products that are there today. I can look back and tell you how many bows that I've named along the way, and it feels pretty cool to do that. But to be a part of the evolution of PSE, and that's one of the names for me that I thought was really cool is the Evo Cam that we have now, and the Evolve Cam. That was my suggestion, but I told them the same thing that you just said, was from where we were to where we've evolved to is huge. So, and then that's when we said, oh, the Evolve Cam. It's easy. That's an easy name. It's a great name, and it's lasted and stuck with us, and it's been the best cam that we've introduced for as long as I've been there. So, yeah, I mean, I probably went on longer and longer than you wanted me to.
No, because because you've been at one place for so long, you've actually seen it go, from where you started watching products and how things were done to what you get to today with the new bows that are coming out, and it's just that evolution and evolving through all that technology that comes every day or every couple months. You get to see it happen, and I love to hear those stories.
Yeah, it is awesome, and there are so many behind the scenes, stories and things that happen that nobody gets to see or know about. So I'm happy to share those with people, and it's neat to share those with people too, because like I said, if you weren't doing this with me today, people wouldn't know about it.
And one of the other fantastic things is the owner, Pete Shepley.
Yes, sir.
Still shows up every day and comes in and is still very visible within the company.
Very visible, very relevant. He's there every day. He beats most of us there in the morning, and sometimes leaves before us, but for the most part, he's there when we all leave, and we keep telling him, man, Pete, go home and enjoy your time, and he just can't. He's got to be there with us, and he runs around and cracks his whip and makes sure that we're all doing our work. But honest truth is, we have such an amazing team in place inside the factory now, where he doesn't really need to do that. So he doesn't do a lot of whip cracking, but he just comes in and makes sure we're doing our job, and we do. We perform, we do it, we make sure that it's his name on that product. So it's up to us to make sure that his name stays relevant, his name stays, high in the industry, and we're only putting out good products.
We're talking about the products in PSE and the evolution the time you've been there. What about the archery, not the industry, but archery out in the world with the people who actually use the bows in the field or on target range? That evolution, are we bending the curve a little bit? Are we making big advances out of archers themselves, or more archers?
We certainly are. I can't really tell you if we're growing the amount of archers. I can tell you that with the events that happened last year, people wanted to get outdoors a little more. People are looking at RVs and ATVs and whatever it was that they needed to get outside, because we were stuck for a while. Mm-hmm. And archery was one of the sports and one of the activities that people took advantage of, and they're going out and they're doing it more. Whether it's the recreational archer or the hunter or the target archer, there's a few. I would say there's a few more people doing it. I can't really put a number on it, but but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a relevant part of the world. I wish I could tell you it was growing exponentially, but because if it did, then we'd all have a few more dollars in our pocket. But
Right.
We're happy with how things are progressing now, and there are a lot of people that wouldn't have normally noticed archery over the last couple of years that have it on their radar, that are willing to try it and have tried it and are trying it. So yeah, so things are good as far as that goes.
That's awesome, and we see it. We see it with the young kids, like the Las Vegas shoot and the other shoots that are really well known. Lancaster, we see the young divisions and those shooters and those up and comers at Joad and whatnot. But it's always a good sign to see them filling in there.
Yes, love seeing the kids out there. Love seeing the kids. Kids are the future for sure. But getting adults into it is just as important, if not more. I mean, not discounting the kids that are doing it, but I mean, you and I both know it's mom and dad that are buying the equipment, and if you can't buy it, then you're not going to do it. So you get an adult to come out and do it. They're the ones that are buying the product, and that's equally as important. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, how old you are. Come out, try it. I promise you that's all you need to do is try it. If you don't try it, you'll never know. But yeah, so get out, toss an arrow or two, and I promise you're going to love it.
I'll tell you that a good friend of ours who's no longer with us, Jim Beasley, who ran Spot Shooter Archery, he's the one that got us into target archery, and he kept after us, said, come on, just try it. Just go with this, one season of indoor target archery. And then a good friend of ours, Dan Yassa, who came along. And all of a sudden, once we caught that bug, I mean, you're right, you just try it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do is just try it, and you get hooked.
Dan Yalza, one of my favorite people in the world. I want to make sure I throw that out there. Love that guy. Dan and Emily. Yeah, you're not going to meet better people than them.
Not at all. But I tell you what, we're coming up on our first break, and we're not here just to talk to you, because you are a very well-spoken person and a great man to me. But we need to talk about some new bows, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So I'll tell you what, let's step outside. We take our first break. We come back. We're going to jump right into what he's got to show us tonight. We'll be right back after this.
All right, we got some questions starting to pile up.
Easy for you to say.
I know, right? you make me nervous.
What do you got in that coffee over there?
Right?
Hey, why do I not have some medium roast? I want to know that right away.
Danny's supposed to be sending you something.
You.
Are you a coffee drinker?
I am. I don't even want to show you what's on. I'm going to bring it up slowly. I don't even want to show you what's on this mug.
No, don't. But you will have some. I was gonna have you text me your address after.
I don't want. Yeah, I know better than that, Danny. I know. I'm just going to show you the tip of that right there. I've done this one twice.
You want me to deliver it personally?
I would love it if you did.
I tell you what.
Only if you make it.
Oh, I'll make it.
All right.
All right, here we go. Stand by. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Second segment of the show. As we always say, you got to watch the live stream because you miss what happens in the break.
Absolutely. And you know what? Having Bobby on just brings us back to those good times at ATA where he thinks he's really that much taller than me because he's standing in the semi.
Because he is. Just saying.
You don't have to help him.
He needs no help. He's gonna roast you here in just a minute.
You know what?
I was about to say that. I don't need much help. Love you, Dan. Come on.
I know. Hey, you got some new bows coming out this year, and we're hearing all about the Evo XF. You've got the E2 and the S2 in multiple colors and everything. You got to run over these bows and what features you've added to make them just that much better for 2022, because I've heard nothing but good things from them.
And we have, the XF models have been a huge hit since we introduced them. And, every year our engineers come up with a new bow. They continue to amaze me, and you probably get tired of hearing me say that, but these guys just do an amazing job of making sure that we have the latest and greatest with all the technology. But here we have the Evo XF33 in my hand, and I know it's kind of small in the camera there, and I'll show you the rest of the bow here. But we got the Evo XF33, we have the Evo XF30, and then last year we had the EVL 32, we have the 34. So really, any geometry that you might be looking for, you're going to find it within our entire product line. So it's hard. I'm not trying to discount any of the bows that we just recently introduced, but we got the 33 and the 30. The biggest things that we added to the 33 and the 30 that we didn't have in last year's bows are I don't have the rest on here to show you, but we have the integrated mount, or integrated machine marks here for the QAD rest.
Okay.
That was a huge deal, a huge undertaking that we went through with QAD to machine the integrated mounts there too. And another thing too that we added to the bows, and I have the Quiver on here too, is we finally, we got a lot of requests from the industry. There's a pretty standard Quiver mount size and shape bracket that a lot of the other Quiver manufacturers are using, and we added it to this handle. The 33 and the 30 have this Quiver mount handle, or Quiver mount machine hole to it, so you can use a lot of other accessory manufactured quivers, but this particular one I have here is from Tree Limb. We've done a lot of work with him over the years, and God bless him, he's been trying to get us to do this for him for so long. We finally did it this year. Go to Tree Limb website, look at their quivers, look at their accessories. They have a lot of good stuff. They have one that goes on here that'll take a one-piece quiver. I'm a huge fan of the two-piece quivers. That's what I have on here now. It fits perfectly. It looks great. There's a lot of adjustability to it as far as how close you can get it to the riser. So super excited about that. We've added a wider limb pocket here. So that gives us a wider stance for stability. And the biggest thing too, I shouldn't even say the biggest because there's so many cool features put into it, but we have the new E2 and S2 cam. I don't know if you can see that. Mm-hmm. But the E2 is basically telling you about the second generation of the Evolve, and the S2 is telling you about the second generation of a small Evolve cam, if that makes sense. Yep. So it's I shouldn't even say a little bit, it's significantly faster than the Evolve cam. Still have the same rotating intercam module on that one, so you can adjust your draw lengths super easy, half-inch increments, in about 5 or 6 inches of draw length adjustment. You have the let-off adjustment in the stop there. I like shooting this particular one at the 80% let-off position. And you know what? You guys talked about me turning 50 last week, and I'm not sure if I appreciate that or not, but I did turn 50 last week. I can't pull the heavy weight like I used to. I can. My mind says I can, but this shoulder tells me that I can, that I cannot, and I shouldn't. I'm shooting this bow at 60 pounds in the lower let-off position. I'm still maintaining some incredible performance and speed out of it. You don't really need the heavy weight to get the performance anymore. So that E2 cam in my particular draw length, with the 33 or the 30, the 30 is available with the E2, okay. But with the 33, you can get both cam options. So if your draw length is 29 or under, definitely recommend going with the S2 cam. Both will work, but the S2 is going to get you the best performance out of it at the same draw length. So I'm only 28-inch draw. I'm shooting a little cam, just getting incredible performance and speed out of it. I really love it. And the other feature that we added to the bows this year, it's kind of hard to show you in the camera, but we have a new cable guard system here. So that cable guard is not a bench rod. If you can see that there, it comes out straight. But with this new cable guard system, it's adjustable laterally without making your rod bend, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Not that was bad in the past, but this year you can adjust this laterally and keep the same position of the guard. So if you did need to move it in and out for tuning, you can do it pretty easily. We set it in an optimal position for vein clearance. If you need more than that, you can adjust it, but if you're having any tuning issues, left and right tuning issues, go to your guard first, and that should take care of it.
So going back to the limb pockets being wider on this bow, is it wider the limbs, the more stability in a bow? Is that
Well, that's one of the features, but the wider the limbs, the more stability. And then also, I don't know if you could see that, but there's also more space between the limbs and the cam. So that also equates to more spacers between the limbs and the cam. So if you are struggling with tuning your bows and you need some lateral adjustment, you get more adjustments with more spacers between the cams. So you can run your cam way over one way or the other and take out any left or right tears that you might be experiencing. And what I want to stress here too is that so many people think that the bow is the cause of a wider left tear, and it's this right here. Right. It's how you're holding your bow. This is what causes left and right tears. It's not the bow. It's how we each individually hold it. And it doesn't mean you're holding it wrong. It's just the way you hold it. But that's one of the reasons why we do what we do, because we want to make sure that this bow will tune according to how you hold it.
Tunes to your grip.
Exactly. Most people can tune these bows right out of the box without doing anything but a rest adjustment or a cable guard adjustment. But if you've already done that and you need to go a little further, you can move your cams over a little bit left or right and take it out. Yeah.
So it's kind of, to me, I would equate it to like, I mean, it's totally different, but a car seat that has the electric tilt, the lumbar support, the slide, the up and down, the whole 9 yards, you tune it to your fit to where it feels comfortable and performs for you.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. That is a great analogy. I mean, I can't jump in my wife's car. I hate to jump in her car after she's been driving it because she is so short. I jump in and it's hard to get in, so I have to run the seat all the way back and then set it for me. But yeah, that is a fantastic analogy.
Just you ought to get in Danny's.
I can't.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Hey, he teed that one up,
right? He did. So you know what? You were saying it just a few minutes ago about the lineup that PSE has, and for anybody that's really wants to dive into the full lineup, all you gotta do is go to psarchery.com, and you would agree with me, Bobby, that you have a bow for every sports competition, hunting, fishing.
Oh, yeah, easy, by far. And we almost make too many. Bows, but we have a bow for everybody, whether it's the entry level guy. And we totally understand that not everybody has $1,100 to buy an XF. So we have our $800 bows and our $500 bows and our $400 entry level bows. I mean, we have a bow for everybody, and every one of those is going to perform great in their product category.
You know, that's one of the nice things that we when we work with PSE like we do, when we're out at a store or something and people are coming in, and whether it be at the pro shop or at a big box store, there's a PSE there that we can fit them into or have them try like we always do. We always tell them, shoot it. It's like buying a car. We can tell you you're going to like it, but until you try it, you got to do it. So That's one of the price things are nice when you can say, hey, this is a PSE in your price range. Try it.
Yes, for sure.
You know,
we got something for everybody.
And another question, where'd it go? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, out of the blue, PSE, has it ever been used in the Olympics?
Oh yes, we've had several in the Olympics. Yeah, Jenny Hardy, she got married. I can't remember her new name, but while she was with us and in the Olympics, Jennifer Hardy, she did a fantastic job for us. Just the sweetest person you will ever meet. But yes, and there have been others as well. But in most recent memory, Jennifer Hardy was the last one that was in the Olympics with us. Lee Ford, she shoots our recurve as well. She has been in, I believe, a couple different Olympic games. But yes, we have been in the Olympics.
And the obvious question is, I know you have right-handed bows, but you can also order or find left-handed ones, correct?
We make wrong-handed bows too, and we don't discriminate. But yes, we make right and left hand. And I will say, over the years, there are a small handful of bows that we only made in right hand, but 99.99999% of them are all right or left-handed availability.
Well, that's the thing. There you go. You're even pressing the point more of the expandability of your product line to meet the criteria as you're looking at customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it's got to be good.
All for everyone.
It comes in multiple colors.
Lots of colors. We have. I can't even name all of the colors. The best way to see what color offerings we have is to go to the website pse-archery.com or PSE Archery. We just recently took the dash out, but 25 years of saying dash archery sticks with me. But psearchery.com. Go look at the model you're interested in. We have so many colors to offer, and the target colors, it's pretty awesome too. We have so many target colors. And last year, I actually got put in charge of our custom shop. So I built all of the custom bows last year and did a lot of custom colors. And we can spend the rest of the night telling you all the colors that we have available, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, go to the website, look at everything we have to offer, and let us know what you want.
Right. And as you were talking, we threw up the website. You've got 8 on the website, but like you said, if you're looking for that custom color, get with your pro shop. They'll get with you and see what you guys can do about it to get them a custom color.
Exactly.
The string on it, what kind of string we going to use?
We have we developed a custom string system a couple of years ago. So on our high-end models, we're using our PSE live wire custom bowstrings. I would put those strings up against your best custom string makers out there. The hard part about that with us is that, and we know that people are so particular. I mean, you can't get a bow hunter to make his clothes match on a regular day-to-day basis. But when he goes out hunting, his clothes are matching perfectly. All of his gear is matching perfectly, and they want their bowstring to match their bow, or they want their bowstring to match their favorite college team or whatever it is. So that's where we struggle with the strings. Although we can do colors, but a lot of people will buy our bows and rip the strings off the bows and just to put another color, not realizing they're pulling some incredible custom strings off of their bow for color. So I encourage you, just leave our strings on there, try them. I mean, if you really don't like them, call me. I'll make you a set myself. But they're incredible strings. Our live wire custom strings are a great string. You're going to get a standard color option with your hunting bows and with your target bows. But we make an incredible string out there. I promise you.
I would agree with that, and that's one of the things that I've done is I think we've only done it maybe one time that I remember off the top of my head, but actually we just try to stay as stock as possible with the strings and everything because we're just it's part of the bow. It's part of how it was engineered anyways. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to mess with that, and it's a good quality bowstring. Yeah, I totally agree because you'll see that in forum after forum. I got a new bow. What bowstrings do I want to get?
We're an odd bunch. I tell you, we're an odd group of people. That, we talk about women matching purses and shoes and dresses, but we're just as bad with their hunting gear.
Exactly. It drives me nuts when I see a post on Facebook. A guy says, "I just bought this bow. What custom string should I put on there?" I'm like, oh my God, just leave that string on there and shoot it. You're going to be happy, I promise you. But
well, that's it, right? Just shoot it.
Yeah, just shoot it. Yeah.
And it's one of those things that Tammy says lefties are always right.
No, they're left.
No, they're left, right?
They're left.
Yeah.
Right? So, but, and that's one of the things. You got to shoot them, especially these bows. Get to your local archery dealer. They should have them in stock. If not, they should be coming in soon. But you got to go out and try it and shoot them. But that's not the only bow you got with you. Right?
No, I do have another bow. We just introduced this one back at the ATA show, so this might be old news to a few of you, but for a few that don't know, I have the new Carbon Levitate with me here too. So another bow that we just dropped in January. It's only a few weeks old. It does share the same riser as our Mach 1 does. We did do some custom machining here on the end of the handle there to accept a new limb pocket. So this is another wider limb system, limb pocket system. Gives you the same adjustability that I was just telling you about with the XF. The Levitate will come standard with the E2 and S2 cam. This one has a lock-on series logo there too. But that Carbon Mach that I have over the last couple of years has been an amazing model. We've learned a lot about carbon production over the last several years. We produce these handles right here in Tucson, Arizona. We're not sourcing out parts. We're doing it all right here. So I hope that is a big deal to you folks. But this handle here is just like our Mach. It's a one-piece monocoque construction design. There's not a bunch of pieces fused together. It's one-piece handle with an acoustic core inside of it that captures vibration before it reaches the shell. So this bow is crazy dead in your hand, super fast, especially with the new cam system out there. All I can do is tell you, get to your dealer, put this in your hand and shoot it so you know how good it is. I can tell you about it all day long, but get to your dealer and try it. And the other thing that we did here too is we added a threaded hole back here so you can put a back bar on it. In the past, you had to just use your front stabilizer mount there to add any kind of back bar system to it. But now you can put a back bar with this mount there. You got the new cams, you got the PBTS system, you got the new limb system, you got the new pockets. I mean, and this one also does have a new fixed cable bar on here. So it's not adjustable, but it's a fixed rod in the optimal position. So you won't really need to use this for any kind of tuning. If you did need to do any lateral tuning to it, you can use your rest first. And if you don't get what you need out of your rest, you can shim your cam left or right. And if you can't get lateral tuning out using that system, you can fine tune with a PBTS. And if you've done all of that and still can't get it, then you need to go see a coach because you need more help than what this boat can give. But yeah, pretty excited about the Carbon Levitate.
And the weight of those, the carbon is coming in at 3.5 pounds. It's not too bad.
Even little guys like you can hold this bow up, Danny. I think you would do this. You would do really well with this model bow.
He could twirl it around, probably not as fast as you do, being a little bit smaller, but yeah.
Danny, don't twirl it because you're going to hit the cams on the ground if you do. So don't twirl it. I'm sure you can. Get on a stool or something, but yeah. But
right?
you're not. Yes.
Right. I get it.
If you're going to twirl it, get on a stand or something. But you're probably not going to want to do that. Just shoot it, and you'll be happy with it. Just the way it is.
Yep, just shoot it. That's all you gotta tell me, and I will do that. But it's one of those things that ever since you've had this, and then you've hooked up with Dudley and the whole knock-on series that you have, and this bow here. I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to that carbon just for the sheer lightness, especially if they're heading out west, backpacking it wherever they might be going.
Weight means everything.
Weight means everything is right. So, again, like you said, get to the website, get to your dealer. Are all these bows being shipped, or we have any types of delays?
We're doing well. I will say, the only delay with the Levitate is we got crazy deep in back order, and it's a super great problem to have. So we are in a bit of back order status with the Levitates as of today. We are shipping them regularly, shipping them daily. Orders that we're shipping today are orders that were placed a good bit ago, I will say. The XFs, same way. They were received really, really well. We had a lot of orders come in for the XF models. We're shipping daily. If you have one on order, please be patient. I promise you it'll be worth the wait.
That's an aluminum riser on the Evo, right?
Yes.
Have you found any issues with getting materials like aluminum?
Yes, just like the rest of the world did last year. We had so many problems getting as big as we are. We found out how small we are to the world when it comes to getting components and anything like that to produce anything. Getting it in a timely manner was a serious struggle last year. We still managed to stay on top of it best way we could, but getting materials was a huge struggle for us last year.
Excellent. Well, a good problem to have. You got back orders, but you're working on them. You'll alleviate them. You'll get out there. We're coming up on our second break. When we come back, we'll talk more about PSE and what you guys are offering.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this. Got anything over there? Question?
Yeah, I do have a question. It's we'll go down into the arrows
Okay.
and talk a little bit about crossbows.
All right.
Yeah, that's like one of the. You're right, Bobby. When you look at a post or something that says, "I just got this brand new bow X. What's the best bowstrings out there?" I'm like, really?
Yeah, I know. And you know what? It used to and does frustrate me, but I totally get it. I do it. I mean, I bought a truck a couple years ago, and it was an older GMC truck, but I bought a truck a couple years ago, and first thing I want to do is put tires on it.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there's the tires that were on it would have done okay, but I wanted to put tires on.
He wanted to put the big mudders on it.
Like, well, we don't get too much rain out here in Tucson, so I don't need mudders.
Okay, the big dusters.
Yeah, I just wanted them to look cool, but yeah, I totally get it. These guys, they don't understand the time and effort and work we put into doing making the strings the way they are. So for me personally, I mean, I know we make a good string, so I take it personally when guys want to rip the strings off to put something else on there. That is an inferior string in some cases, not all, but some cases they're just getting something with color, and it's not near as good as what they already have.
There you go.
Well, yeah, and that's why your big OEMs for automobiles all of a sudden have now gone into that arena, right? You now can get more accessories at your dealers than ever because they figured it out. Just, like you said, I bought a new truck and I ripped the tires off.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
but nope, I get it.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Here we go. Stand by 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. We're third part of the show.
And the question is not for Bobby, but it's for me.
The question's for you. Oh, so we're going to talk about Danny now, Bobby.
it's all about Danny now.
It is.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, wait a minute. I have a guest on, and we're supposed to be talking about the guest, but somebody wants to know what my draw length is.
Oh.
I know.
Okay.
It's like,
Well,
and here's the funny part. All you tall guys out there, Bobby, you said yours is 28.
yes, sir.
Mine's 27. Mike's is
Wow.
27 and a quarter.
Yeah. Danny's got real long arms.
Yeah.
Wow. Monkey arms.
Yeah.
Well, because Mike swings me around and throws me, cuts my mic off and does all that stuff. And
I can do that now if you'd like.
yeah. But you know what? That's not. You guys kill me. I tell you.
It's the only time I get away with this, Bobby.
I
is
miss
when you're
this
around.
guy. And one thing I wanted to talk about was crossbows. And you have several crossbows out there. Obviously, the Warhammer I used last year and the year before. Amazing. I had it sighted in, and it was awesome. Not gonna lie. And the best part about it was we took it out of the box. You guys on the website say it's 400 with a 400 grain bolt.
Right.
And by golly, we took it out of the box and shot it through the chrono, and it was 406.
Yeah.
I know, right? So
We're one of the few people out there that publish actual speeds. And I don't know if you've heard about it from many other manufacturers, and some of them are pretty close, but we're one of the few that publish actual speeds, because it doesn't do any good to. I mean, once you bought the bow, you have it, so not a lot you can do. But we don't want you to go out and buy a bow because it says it shoots this fast and it doesn't, and you're disappointed. So we're one of the few out there that publishes real speeds on all of our equipment.
And again, you got to go to the website and look at their crossbows, because they got a price point for everyone. Whether you're looking at the Coalition Frontier, or you're looking at the Fang XG, or you're going up to the Warhammer, and all the price points are there. Whether you want to be an entry level or you want to go to the high end with the Warhammer. But again, I can't say enough about the Warhammer. Trust me.
No, I agree. And I will say the Warhammer is produced in-house, so we make all of those components there. We do buy a few things like the trigger assemblies and things like that, but the limbs, the cams, the prod, and we do buy the scope. Of course, we don't make scopes, but every other component of that bow was produced right there at the factory. Some of the other price point bows we do source out, like a lot of people do. But that Warhammer, our performance bows, just like the rest of our compound bows, are all produced in-house.
And I tell you, it goes to show about PSE doing it in-house is just an amazing thing. I can't talk, kudos to them, and especially the engineering department, which you work with. But that's not all, because you also have arrows. And
yep.
What arrows are you shooting this year?
I am shooting the PSE Carbon Force XPs. I've had such great success with those arrows. It's a micro diameter arrow. They're very consistent in spine. And what a lot of people don't really realize is spine consistency is way more important than straightness. Consumers understand straightness, but spine consistency is way better. You're going to get way better groups. You're going to get way better performance if your bundle of arrows are all the same or as close to the same spine. And those XPs, like our Radial XWs from a few years ago, are very spine consistent, and I get super good performance out of those. And because they're a micro diameter, when not just for target, but when that broadhead hits the animal and creates that first hole in it, there's a very little drag behind the arrow because it's micro diameter, so you get incredible penetration. So that goes back to what we talked about earlier, where you don't really need to be shooting the heavy poundage anymore. It's hard to get guys like us, the older guys who have lived it for so long, to change, but you really don't need the heavy weight like we used to. You don't need the crazy heavy arrow like we used to get penetration. You shoot a micro diameter shaft like that with a good sharp broadhead and a well-tuned bow, which is pretty easy to do with our stuff. But you put those combinations together, and you just better watch out what's behind your deer, because that arrow's not going to stop.
Well, that's what we had happen to us, Danny and I, this year. I went up to his place in the UP, and yeah, the Evo definitely hit the mark and blasted a hole through that doe that I shot, and it didn't run about 50, 60 yards, and it was done.
That's awesome. Hey, Danny, Mike, I got somebody calling in that wants to go to this live feed right now. Can you guys tell me where he can go right now to start watching this?
If you go to our Facebook page, page, Up North Journal.
Up North Journal, Facebook page, right? And you can watch the rest of this live, and then later on, you can go back and watch the whole show.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks,
and the hits continue for Dan. Geez, Dan, your draw length measures longer than your pant length.
Told you he's got long arms.
Yes. I'm not even going to ask you what your waist size is. We'll just go off of pant.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Oh my.
But it's one of those things. Oh, so I see, and this question came in a lot earlier, but I'm gonna get it in here right now because I see the timber arrows you have.
Yes.
Which is a carbon simulated wood grain. But have you ever shot real wooden arrows?
I have. When I first started, I started shooting a bow when I was 7. One of my brothers gave me a second or third hand recurve, I don't even know, but I was so small, and he gave me a recurve bow that he bought at a flea market, and he thought it was cool, and I got it, and from the moment I started launching arrows, that was the beginning for me back then when I was 7. So I shot wooden arrows out of that bow for a long time, and I have a crazy story. I had those arrows with me for a long time, and then I bought my first compound bow when I was a young teenager and scraped up, however much money I could get to buy this compound bow, and all I had were those aluminum arrows, and all I had were the wooden arrows, and when I took that first shot, that arrow split because it was not made for that, and that was a huge eye-opener for me to understand how powerful those compound bows are. But yes, I have shot wooden arrows. It has been a while, but I have shot wooden arrows.
Okay.
You didn't get that in the back of the hand on the grip hand, did you?
Well, I did do that with a carbon. I did have that happen to me about 18 years ago.
Wow.
No way.
Yep, I had a carbon arrow break. It's kind of hard to see in there, but it went in here and it exited between these two fingers and then buried up to the fletch. And that was in 2003, and to this day I still have carbon pieces coming out of my hand.
What? They just work their way out and then they'll just come to the surface?
Yeah, so the first couple of years, they would come out of the back of my hand. It would start like I'd see a little white spot, and it would kind of pull through, and it would itch real bad, and then it would break the skin, and I'd pull that little piece out. Then we were done for a couple weeks, and then it would do it again. And then it stopped doing that after a couple years, and then I had pieces growing out of each of my fingernails, and now the last 2 years it's just been out of these 2 fingers.
No way.
Wow.
It'll start at the base of the fingernail, and then it takes about 3 weeks, and it just grows out to the end, and it comes out. Yeah, I just had one a couple weeks ago again.
And it doesn't. Your body doesn't reject it.
That's why it's coming now, because it's rejected.
Oh, that's okay. So it doesn't get like I'm picturing like infection type.
Yeah.
But it's just pushing it out.
It did early on. This knuckle right here is all synthetic because there was a concentration of carbon there, and the body tried to eat it, and it ended up eating more bone than it ate carbon. So it did create an infection. I had to have surgery, and they rebuilt this joint here. Stay on video. Oops, change the video. Yeah, I don't know if I did that right, but yeah. So it did do that, and I did have to have that joint rebuilt. But fortunately, it did make this finger kind of crooked. But fortunately, I could still hold my bow, and I could still shoot. And the funny thing is, the hardest thing I have doing is skinning a deer, because I have to hold the hide, and I'm right-handed. So I work my knife here, so holding onto the cape and skinning it, I do get fatigued here, and my hand goes numb right in here when I'm only doing that. But otherwise, everything else is fine.
I've seen pictures of it. I've never talked to anybody that actually had it happen to them. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised that it hasn't come up with us in all the podcasts that we've done.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's one of those things, you just sit there, and I imagine did you do it on the range, or where were you?
I was on an elk hunt. I was on the 3rd day of an elk hunt. We were hunting elk. We're trying to get on them. I hadn't had any shots yet. We got back to camp, and like I always do, and even though nothing had happened, I wanted to just check my sights and make sure everything was okay. And I shot a couple shots at a 40-yard target, and I was putting all my arrows into a dot. And I still remember, like it was yesterday, I told my brothers, let me take one more shot just to be sure. And when that shot broke, it felt like a dry fire, and I was really confused. I didn't know what happened, but I felt pressure on my hand, and I remember looking up at my top cam, and nothing was wrong, and I looked down at my bottom cam, and everything was put together, and then I held the bow up to look at it, and the arrow was in my hand.
Wow.
It happened that fast. And then from that point, the rest of the afternoon was a blur because everybody in camp was scrambling to get the bow out of my hand, to get me in the truck, to get me to the hospital. And it was pretty crazy.
How far out were you from the hospital?
We were about an hour and a half. We were deep in the woods in Elk Camp, but we were about an hour from the nearest town, and the hospital was on the far other side of the town. So we had to, and then we hit traffic, and but it felt like an eternity to get there. But we got there, and they pulled it out, and everything turned out okay. But still, to this day, I get reminded that it happened when pieces come out of my hand.
What do you think caused the carbon arrow to shatter?
Yeah, it's really hard to say, and the best explanation that I have is I probably shot too many arrows at the same spot. And I've been telling people this from the time it happened. I probably shot too many arrows at the same spot, and maybe crashed into another arrow during a practice session, and it compromised that shaft, and I didn't realize it. So I tell people all the time since then, always check your arrows. If you skip an arrow off your target or in dirt, check it. If you shoot a group of arrows, check all of them. But the best thing you can do is, if you have room on a target where you can shoot multiple spots, do that. It's going to save you a lot of heartache.
Well, let me ask you this: target shooting, whether you're outside, inside, whatever, and you suspect something, or maybe you just want to check them, like you said, periodically check them. What are you actually looking for to say, okay, I'm not going to shoot this arrow again?
I wish I had an arrow here to show you, but basically, if you can hold an arrow in your hand, I'm pretty sure you can all imagine it. Put your thumb between the fletchings. Most arrows are 3 fletch. Just put your thumb. Oh, here we go. Oh, my assistant gave me a 6 fletch. But if you put your thumb between the vein and then flex it and look down the shaft, you'll hear it or feel it, but flex it and then rotate it in between the next vein, flex it and do it. And then do it between the next flex it and feel it. You'll know. If that arrow's been compromised, you will know immediately. I promise you. Because when you do that, you'll hear it or see it, or something will happen. But if you do that, just like I'm doing with this arrow, and nothing happens, put it back in your quiver and go out and shoot again.
So, well, let's keep talking about arrows since we got a guy that kind of shoots a little bit.
A little bit,
probably every lunch hour,
right?
Or whenever he needs to. Why 6 fletch?
that was a funny thing that I did a few years ago. I talked to Nick Fisher with AAE a couple years ago, and
right.
I was building some target arrows, and he said, "I promise you, if you get these tiny little veins and put 6 of them on your arrow, it's gonna steer that arrow as perfectly as you can imagine." And I did that, and it did. It worked really well. But I'm not gonna lie, I love you, Nick. It took up twice as many veins for one, and it took twice as much time, and I didn't see super significant changes to it. I'll get one of my hunting arrows so I can show them. Yes.
So what you're saying is there wasn't enough gain for the amount of energy.
You know what the best part about shooting 6 arrows or 6 fletch?
What's
the
that?
conversation piece.
There you go. It'll get people talking.
Well,
People
you
ask
these
me
people.
about it, but we're partners with AAE. We developed incredible relationships with AAE. So it was just another way for me to talk about their veins and their products.
And we when we were at the ATA and we interviewed him, and AAE definitely has some great products out there with their veins and stabilizers and whatnot. But you hear the old 3 fletch, 4 fletch, now 6 fletch. It's like. And okay, I get it. I've shot 4 before. 3's okay by me, but 6, it's like, okay, where are you driving for? But you're using that on a target arrow, right?
Exactly. That was purely and primarily a target arrow, and you have to shoot a drop away arrow rest with it. It looked really cool and it worked really well. But I have had such good luck with this. So for me personally, and I think a lot of people, I don't know how well you can see this, but as long as you put some kind of offset or a helical on the vein, it's going to work really well for you. So this particular vein here, it's also an AAE vein. I found that this length of a vein is really as much as I need to steer any broadhead I shoot out of any fast bow that I shoot. But it doesn't matter how good the vein and arrow is, too, as long as you put some kind of a helical to make that arrow spin when it leaves, that helps a ton. And by making that arrow spin as fast as it does when it leaves a bow, it helps the arrow to stabilize. Because when you shoot, the arrow does that. We don't see it, but the arrow does that. And as quickly as you can make that arrow spin, the faster that arrow stabilizes, and it's gonna make your downrange groups that much better and give you that much more performance. So I'm a huge fan of a lot of helical. It does. I will say that you do lose a little downrange speed, but when I say a little, it's this much compared to how fast the bows are today. It's negligible compared to the performance you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, you give up a little speed, but you gain a lot in accuracy.
Huge.
Kind of like spiral on a football, I gotta imagine. You know, keeping it tight, keeping it flying.
Yeah, I can't throw a spiral to save my life. The football looks like a duck when it leaves my hand, but that is a perfect analogy. You get a good spiral, and you're going to hit your mark.
There you go.
And then that's one of the things, right? It's those little things that, you know, you just need to get that arrow spinning, and then you go from there, and then most of all, you got to practice with what you're using.
Oh, absolutely. You can put all of these tips and tactics to work, but unless you put the work in it and you put the time in it, none of that's going to mean anything. You have to put a little work into it too. You have to have a little skin in the game, is what I'm saying.
Got to put sweat equity into it. You get out
Right.
what you put into it. That's for sure.
That is right.
Absolutely. We bumping up on our last break?
Yeah, let's go ahead. We can rock it out to the end here as long as we want after that. So.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to step outside. We'll take our last break, and we'll come back right after this.
All right, folks, get your questions in for the man, the myth, the legend they call Bobby.
Where'd he go? Go ahead. Chip is fine. Yeah. When you come back. Yeah. I'm good. I have had the best assistant with me right now. You can't see him off the screen, but he's making sure I'm hydrated and bringing me water. And he's watching the puppy for right now, but he has to do a potty break himself. So I'm gonna let him go and do that.
There you go. We've not seen him at ATA.
He is dying to go to ATA, and he's dying to go to Vegas. The hard thing is he's in school still, so I don't want to pull him out of school to go to the shows with me yet.
Right.
That may happen down the road. But
What grade's he in?
he's a senior this year. He's going to be 18 in May already.
Wow.
Yes, he went to work with me at PSE last summer. He's going to go back this summer to go work with us. So he's pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
And pretty proud of him. He did really, really good work with us while he was there.
Yeah.
So a lot of he did a lot of cams for us last year. So a lot of you guys out there watching or listening, they got some of the cams that not reworked, but that he produced for us last year.
Nice.
Nice. And he's heading out to college?
Hopefully, we haven't 100% decided on that yet, but that's another topic that's going to come up here pretty soon too in this show. But I hope he does, and he wants to do some bigger and better things. Not college may not be for everybody, but
Absolutely not.
we're waiting for him to decide. And as bad as I just want him to go, I'm going to leave it for him to decide.
Well, my two boys, both of them went to trade school, got great jobs, and you can't say enough for trade schools as well. So.
Yeah, that's another thing he's talked about too. He's expressed an incredible interest in welding, so we might put him into a trade school for welding. So that's pretty awesome.
There you go. Well, I got to ask while we're still here in the commercial break, who's a better shot, you or him? Be honest.
You know what?
I hear it laughing.
Hi, pretty girl. That is a relatively sore subject, but a proud thing that I can talk about. This kid can outshoot me. I'll just say he can flat out outshoot me. I can't say that about very many people, but he can outshoot.
I'm going to see him on the circuit here someday, maybe?
He's been talking about that a lot lately. He wants to do that, and now I want to take him out and shoot some more of the local tournaments and get him get him and the feel of what it's like to compete. And he likes to compete. He's a lot like me too. He likes to compete and he wants to go out and do it. And maybe we'll see him on the national circuit. And I already promised him, if he does well in school next year, we're going to take him to Vegas and shoot some spots. And yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome to see. Pretty proud to that moment, watching him evolve into that. And his mom was telling him the other day, she said, since the day you were born, you couldn't have asked for a better coach. I'm not blowing my own horn, but she said you couldn't have asked for a better coach to do it. But he's his own person. He's his own personality. He's had other interests, and as bad as I want him to shoot a bow and play baseball and go golf with me and do whatever it is that I want to do, he's his own person, and I respect that. And whatever it is he wants to do, I'm going to support him 100%.
There was a time, it took me a little while, but I finally come to realize that our dreams are not always our kids' dreams, and you got to just support them and let them follow their own. And
I had somebody say the same thing to me, Mike. Our dreams are not our kids' dreams,
mm-hmm.
and it wasn't until then that I realized, what I had to do and how I had to deal with it.
Well, I'm sure you'll stand back one day and be extremely proud of whatever he does. I know Danny can attest to the same thing with his kids and mine both. It's being a dad. It's cool when you can see them on their way and doing their own thing. And yeah, there'll be something big in his future. I can already see that.
Oh yeah, he's so talented in so many ways. I'm crazy proud of him, and more than he'll ever know. But I'm sure your dad said it to you when you were young, but it just went in one ear and out the other. But I'm crazy proud of him, more than he'll ever know, and I hope he realizes that when he gets older. He's a really good shot. He's a good person. He's great at guitar. He does so many good things, and all I want is good things for him.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's
what
all
a
you
good dad
can
does.
ask for, and as a parent, you back him 100%.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Last segment of the show, and once again, everybody on the podcast, you missed a great commercial break.
Right, so you got to go over to Facebook and check out our live, or in a few days you'll catch it on YouTube. Check it out there as well. Question: you were showing your hunting arrow, and it just happens to be my brother, and he says that your arrow helical looked more aggressive than typical. Is that more than normal, or is that a standard helical coming?
It's probably more than normal. Arizona Archery Enterprises makes a jig to do that. It puts a pretty hard, aggressive helical on it, and the reason there's a couple different reasons why I like that. The more helical you put on it, the more the arrow is going to spin, and the more helical you put on it, the more the arrow is going to spin, and the greater it's going to stabilize that arrow. So it's going to bring your groups way down. When you shoot an arrow with a straight fletch, if there's any wind one way or the other, when that arrow leaves the bow, it's going to continue on in that direction. But when you put a hard helical on it and it's spinning from the time it leaves the bow, it's going to continue on in the same direction as the rest of your shots, if that makes any sense. So the greater the helical, the better it's going to make the arrow spin, and the better it's going to steer your broadhead. That's the primary reason why I have that. Yes, it's going to give me better performance with the field point, which I really need and want when I'm shooting targets or 3D. That's my second love is 3D. I'm a bow hunter first, 3D shooter second. But that's what this is going to do. But since I'm a bow hunter first, a hard helical like that is going to steer your broadheads really, really well. It's going to make sure you're hitting your mark. And when you're out hunting in the wind, you can't predict the weather, but more often than not, you're going to be in some weather. And when it's windy, I'm not going to say don't play the wind, but this is going to help you when it is windy to hit your mark.
Okay. Well, I got to assume, too, that the more aggressive the helical, the longer the vane needs to be to accept that?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Because there's a lot of surface area on this particular vane, but I did try this helical system with a lot of different vanes, and I went longer, and I didn't get the same performance I got out of these vanes. So this particular, it's a 3.2-inch vane. This particular vane right here steered every one of my broadheads perfectly, and I didn't need any more. So the more vane I put on this arrow, the more drag I'm going to get, the noisier it's going to get, the slower your arrow is going to get. So what I was trying to figure out was, what is the shortest vane that I can shoot to get the maximum performance? And this is where it landed.
Okay, what about the height of the vane?
That's a huge factor too. A few years ago, when Boning came out with their blazer vanes, huge change to the industry because no one had any tall vanes like that. So that tall vane was doing the same thing. So if you get that super tall, short vane, you're getting the same surface area as you do out of this low profile long vane. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So overall, you're getting the same surface area, but you're not creating that big parachute effect out of this particular system as you would with a taller vane. Taller vanes do work, and this is probably more so for me and a lot of us that are out west, where we're taking, we have the chance to take longer shots. If you're primarily in a ground blind or tree stand where you're 15 to 25 yards, doesn't really matter. Straight fletch, tall vane, long vane, 6 fletch, doesn't really matter at that point, to be really, really honest with you. But out here, where we could encounter a longer shot than most people do, we have to do things like this to make sure that we're getting the best performance out of our equipment.
Well, I got to think too, out west, being more open, longer shots, you also have more prevalence of wind to affect that shot as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the spin stabilizes the arrow.
Yep.
And then now, because that's a taller, like you said, 3.2 length vane, are those thicker? Or are all the vanes the same thickness?
There are some that are thicker or thinner than others. This one is, AAE has put a lot of work into creating the best vane they can. I really don't know how thick these are, but I can tell you, the thickness of these creates really good memory for this vane, meaning, they won't stay folded. They're stiff enough where they don't flutter in the wind and make a lot of noise. There are some of those factors out there too, but AAE, probably makes, not probably, they do make the best vanes out there by far.
Well, we sure do like them.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm a huge fan.
And that's one of the things. And
pull that back up, Danny. I'm gonna put that up while you're talking.
we're visiting the AAE website itself, and like you said, go on over there, check it out. They got vanes, they've got AAE Max, they've got all sorts of things. You can go over, visit the website, check it out. I know you guys are an hour or two apart there.
Yeah, we're a couple hours apart. And the other thing I wanted to mention, since we're on that topic, my favorites, I do a lot of target shooting too, but I'm more of a hunter. They're Mountain Series stabilizers.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put one on your bow. If you don't already have one, they're another somewhat of a micro diameter tube for their stabilizers. So it's a smaller diameter. And what I like about it is when you're at full draw, and like you just said, Mike, there could be some wind.
Mm-hmm.
With that micro diameter stabilizer, it doesn't catch your bow as well as it would with a bigger, wider diameter stabilizer, and they're super stiff. I love them.
Now, I gotta assume those are already pre-weighted to a certain weight. Are they come adjustable as well, where you can add weight to them?
Well, they are pre-weighted, and I have one right here on my 33. They are pre-weighted, but the Mountain Series, you can slide this forward and back, and then you can add or take off weights up front. That doesn't take a whole lot of playing with to get the right weight you want. Here's my back bar on one of my bows. They do an awesome quick disconnect mount called the gripper that you can put on the back of your bow, so you can drop a back bar on there. All kinds of cool accessories that they have to make your bow hunting setup the best possible.
Earlier in the show, you were talking about the carbon bow, the Levitate, having the mount to be able to use a back bar on these. That's something that I recently got into, I'd say 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, of starting to run on my hunting rig. Is that something that we're starting to see a lot more of the hunters? Because when I go out in the woods, from bump into somebody, I don't see a lot of that here.
Well, again, kind of like what we talked about a few minutes ago. I mean, I can only imagine. I've never been with you, Mike. Hopefully someday I'll get to hunt with you. But I can only imagine a lot of your hunting setups are tree stand, ground blind kind of stuff.
I'm probably 50-50.
Okay.
I mean, I do like to extend the shot a little bit. I mean, I'll hunt out of a tree stand, but my effective range, is up close to 45, 50 yards.
Actually, I would love to get within 45 yards of a coos deer out here. That would be amazing. But yeah. So to my point is, for Nick's sake and AAE, I would love to tell you, you absolutely have to have that back bar. Right? The reality is, you probably don't really need it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, and a lot of people that I hunt with, that back bar is crucial. It really helps with holding that bow steady. We take relatively long shots. And I know this has come up several times over the last couple minutes, but I don't want people to think that we just arbitrarily toss arrows out there. I mean, it has to be the right conditions, within our effective range and without crazy wind, and if the deer are not alert. I feel really comfortable with taking a 60, 70, 80-yard shot because I know that I can hit my mark at that distance. But for me, having that back bar stabilizer on it, making it stabilize the bow for me, making it, and the added mass weight makes that bow just hold so steady to make those long shots, especially when you got a little bit of wind. But yeah, definitely try that grip on there, put a back bar on there, and you know what, Danny, if your effective range is out to 45 yards, and I don't know how your groups are, but if you're shooting like this and you put that back bar on there, that's going to stabilize your bow and hold you steadier. Maybe you go from lungs big to middle of heart big. That just
does. That's the one thing I've learned when I was shooting in the backyard over at the old house. I could shoot out to 100 yards. And when I put that back bar on, the bow just comes right in and settles immediately. You don't have to sit there and fight the bubble on it. I mean, once you get that thing set, it comes in so nice, but it does. It keeps it steady, and it brings those shots together. And when I started shooting long distance, I was amazed at the difference that it really made.
Good. So you just validated that right there. You saw firsthand.
Oh, absolutely.
How the back bar works for you.
Yeah, but I haven't used one up until about 4 or 5 years ago. That's when I first started playing around with stabilizers on my hunting rig. The one out front and a back bar. It's but the thing I was really asking about was about the weights and how you load yours up versus one that's just kind of preset.
I got you. I'm sorry. I totally.
No. That was great information. I love it.
No. But since Dan Yasa got a hold of us.
Yeah, he schooled us
and taught us. This is right. This is wrong. Blah blah blah. Yeah. You just learn, and like you said, and we tell this to everybody because you'll hear it. Well, what are you shooting at 75 yards for? What are you? Well, because that person practiced it. Or we practice it because we're knowing we're going to tack or we're going to a FIDA or whatever. And it's just, you practice your effective range.
Exactly. And no one, I can't tell you what your effective range is. Only you can determine that. But yes, you can extend your effective range pretty good with a little bit of work, a little bit of balancing. And so basically, Mike, to answer your question, like with this particular XF that I have here, it's got the quiver on the side. It's got my sight on the side. All of this weight on the right side of my bow. So what a sidebar is going to do for me is going to help offset all of these accessories here.
Okay.
So ideally what you want to have is when you shoot, your follow-through is super important. But more importantly is you want the bow to do the same thing after the shot every time. The bow is going to do it. It's up to us to have a great follow-through so that the bow does what it's supposed to do. But typically what I will do is I'll add enough weight on the sidebar to offset the weight of my accessories. And this doesn't have arrows in it, and that's going to add mass weight to it too. But my sidebar offsets the weight of my accessories, and then I'll this could be another podcast altogether about how we balance it to hold your pin steady. But the short answer is my sidebar offsets my accessories, and then once I do that, I get it so my bow holds steady for the shot, and after I go through that exercise and I get it to hold steady for the shot, I'll add a little more front weight to the bow, because what I want to have happen is when the bow goes off, it's gonna go towards your target and just kind of tip forward a little bit. And the reason I want that little tip forward a little bit is it creates an easier follow through for me, because a bow's doing it on its own. Does that make sense? So if your follow through isn't exactly perfect, which none of us do have a perfect follow through, if you can make your bow do it every time, that just relieves one more step from you. So I set my sidebar to offset my weight on the accessories, and once I do all of that and I get the bow to balance, at that point I add just a little more weight to the front so that when I shoot, the bow does that on the shot. And that helps with you making a consistent follow through. And follow through is huge, anytime, but especially when you're shooting long distance.
So the extra weight when you're at full draw and you got the push pull,
yes,
when it breaks, that extra weight as you're pushing, it carries that bow forward, like you said, with that little tip, but it also allows time for that string to come forward and release the knock to get it off the bow. Does it help with that?
It does, and it doesn't help with getting the arrow off the string any faster. I mean, that's a totally different function all in itself.
But it's carrying the bow forward and keeping it in that same plane. Am I overthinking it?
No, you're exactly right. As far as getting the arrow off the string quicker, your balance and weight doesn't do any of that.
Right.
It's the function of the bow and the limbs and our limb system. All that's going to take care of that. So, and that's the beauty of our bows too, is we have such a short launch time. Launch time meaning from the time your shot breaks to the time the arrow's off the string. We have such a short launch time. It gives you very little time to make a mistake during that shot. So with that and the right stabilization on your bow, helping you with that perfect follow through, I mean, I promise you're going to go from big groups to little groups, and your mind is going to be blown with the results.
Now, y'all had a video on that. It was dynamic.
It was dynamic brace height and launch time. Those are two different videos. They're still up on YouTube. Go to YouTube. Look at dynamic brace height. That was a huge one. That's another topic we could talk about all night long too. But dynamic brace height, launch time, and
it's
spring angle.
When I watched that video. I mean, for anybody out there that's listening right now, if you've not watched that, go over and check out their video on that, because it explains it in such a great way, and it's amazing. It'll open your eyes.
Huge eye opener.
Danny's actually, I think, are you calling it up right now?
I'm trying.
He's digging for it.
I'm trying to look for the video he's talking about, because that was
that way we can show the link real quick on it. Yeah. And that's your guys' video, correct?
Yes. That's
okay.
ours.
Okay. While he's checking that out.
Well, I'm trying to bring this up. Helical veins on crossbows, yes or no?
It's okay. The issue you run into with helical on crossbows is most crossbow bolts run on a rail, and you have a very narrow channel in the rail to put a lot of helical. So depending on the particular crossbow you're shooting and how much room you have in that channel will determine how much helical. I'm a huge proponent of helical. I love it. You're going to get better performance with helical or an offset than you will with straight. But you just have to look at your particular crossbow and see how much room you have to offset that vein.
I got to imagine too much is going to create drag, which will slow it down as well.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, the helical I'm shooting now does create drag, but the performance I get far outweighs the speed that I lose. The bows are so fast anyway, it doesn't really matter.
You know, I'm bringing up the video here, and this guy Bobby keeps showing up.
Dynamic brace height.
Just you punch in my name, Yeah, you might see a video or two. There might be a few in there you don't want to see, but yeah.
Right?
And then that's one thing, I wanted to chat about here too. Is I mean, with my time here at PSE, my anniversary is February 26th. I've been here for 25 years. It has been so much fun. It's been an amazing run. I'm so fortunate and grateful to do the things that I've done here, and the friendships that I've made over the last several years have been amazing.
That's one thing about the archery industry is the friendships you make. I mean, is all the people we've met at ATA, from PSE to other people in the industry. It's just, you can't say enough about the archery industry. It's a tight industry, and the friendships are made. They last a lifetime.
Yes.
But then again, we get to do what we love to do. We get to play with bows and play with arrows. It's.
I've said that for a lot of years. I get to play with bow and arrows quite a bit.
And you get to make a living at it too.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. Are you done over there typing?
There's a whole bunch,
Okay.
but we'll just throw this one up. You got to get past the Bobby Vargas fan club.
Oh, jeez. You got it there? You done
Almost
playing?
there. There we go.
Okay, pop
There you
that
go.
up there. So there is dynamic brace height. What's that? What's the link to that video?
Well, this one is showing the PSE Dream Season, the Decree versus the Hoyt Carbon Spider. This is, what is this? Oh, this one's 7 years old now.
7 years.
Yeah, and if you go in, they do an interview, then they show the video of the brace height itself and the launching of it. But there's, if you, like you said, go and type in PSE Dynamic Launch Time. They got them for different other bows and stuff like that for their.
Yeah, it is a few years old, but I mean, it's all the same.
It hasn't changed.
Yes. There's no one else out there making any bows that come anywhere close to what we're doing.
Well, as they say, follow the science, and you guys are proving it.
That's right.
I tell you what, we're running a little long here. Is there anything else you want to throw at us before we wrap things up tonight?
I do. There's something I want to throw out there. With what I mentioned a minute ago, with all the stuff that I've been fortunate enough to do, and I just absolutely loved what I've done, and doing these videos with you and podcasts with whoever else was gracious enough to have me. It is now, after 25 years of being with PSE and doing just some absolutely amazing things, it is now time for me to move on. I turned in my resignation with PSE yesterday. It's time for me to put my family ahead of my job, which I've done for a long time, but only because I love what I do. I'm not going to say did, because I love what I do and who I did it with and who I did it for and for the brand. But it is now time for me to go ahead and take my talents elsewhere, and I'm staying right here in Tucson. I'm getting out of the industry altogether. But hopefully all of the relationships that I've developed over these last 25 years will remain, and I think they will, because the hugs I get at ATA show and the Vegas shoot and any other show that I go to work at really tell me deep down in my heart that we've developed really great relationships, and I'm gonna miss that. But I think we're all friends, and we're all better for it, and it's time for me to do different things and put my family ahead of my job.
Well, congratulations.
It takes a big person to do that, and dude, hats off to you.
Man, there were a lot of sleepless nights, I promise you. It was the hardest and easiest decision that I've ever made, if that makes any sense.
It does. I see it in my industry. In television, it happens every day with people we've worked with for years, and I've been there 32 years, so I get what you're saying, and hats off to you, man. It's enjoy it. I tell you.
I mean, this goes to everybody watching. If I have my nephews that are hunting with me all the time, they tell me I have fans, and I still don't believe it. But if there are any out there, It's been a great run. Love you all. I'm still around. I'm not going away. I don't think I could ever leave the industry completely, but my new job is going to take me away from it. I came to this industry a bow hunter. I'm leaving it a bow hunter. Leaving it a better person. I hope all of you guys know that and realize that. And just a huge thanks to everybody that has supported me over the years.
I tell you what, Danny and I, we've talked about it many a time, and we would love to be at some point in time, get with you and share a campfire and, share a hunt with you at some point, whether it be out there or over here or what have you. So, we've always got an extra chair at the campfire for you.
Well, you just say when, Bobby with PSE has been my identity for a long time, so this decision was really hard to make because that was me for so long, and I'm a guy from the south side of Tucson that was given an incredible opportunity by Pete Shepley to do what I do and do what I did for so long. It's been amazing, and for you to extend that invitation to me means an awful lot, and I would love to be able to do that with everyone that has done that with me, and maybe someday I'll be able to go sit at camp with all of you guys, and keep sending the invitations. I may not be able to go to every one. I'll be able to make some, but keep sending the invitations. It's been great.
Well, you have an open invitation to come on the show anytime. We can swap hunting stories. Actually, what we talked about back in the commercial break with your son, following him, he's going to be up to some great things, and we would love to hear from him as well.
He is, and he would love to be on. He's not as much of a camera hog as his dad is, but once you get him in front of it, he's good.
There you go. I don't know what to say, man. We're gonna miss you. But we're still gonna see you. I know that. I do know that.
Well, I miss you too, and you've got my phone number. That's not going to change. My email is going to change because I'm not going to be at the same place anymore. My heart is the same. My personality is the same. Hopefully, you guys have come to know that. But cheers to everybody out there. Thank you so much for doing what you do, keeping me in it for as long as I've had. It was because of everybody that supported me and did what they did for me, and just the phone calls, the emails, the "Hey, how are you?" are what kept me going all of this time.
So you're gonna retire and you're gonna write a book, right?
Well, I only turned 50 last week, so I'm not quite ready to retire.
Don't put him in a rocking chair yet.
Yes. Yeah, don't put me in the
He's older than we are.
He can rock and write a book.
Yeah. If you guys follow me on Facebook, I'm sure you saw some videos and pictures from the wonderful party that my wife and family threw for me last week, and you can see I can still dance a little bit, and I can still sing a little bit, not very well, but I can still do it all, but I'm not quite ready to retire. Danny, it's funny, some other folks have asked me about writing a book. I don't know if that's in the cards yet, but maybe I'll have time to do it now. We'll see.
Well, I know before the show we were talking a little bit, but I'm going to say it here in front of everybody. You're a man of character and integrity. You always will be. You've been a great friend to us, and like I said, you come on the show anytime you'd like, man. We'll talk.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you, guys. I will come on anytime you'll have me, as long as anything I can do to help you, you just let me know. It goes for everybody else watching out there. I'm not going away. Hopefully I'm not going away anytime soon.
There you go.
As long as I'm on the right side of the ground, you got my ear.
There you go. I tell you what, we're going to wrap up the show. Hang on, and we'll chat quickly right afterwards here. But for everybody that's listening on the podcast, make sure you get over and give us a review over on iTunes if you're listening over there. It helps us. It helps our supporters as well, like PSE. And if you're watching the show here, do us a favor. Go over and go to PSE's page and give them a like, follow, share, and do the same for us as well for the show. Next week we've got
Carrie Z
from Hunt Fish Travel.
Hunt Fish Travel, who is traveling as we speak on her 3-state tour.
Yep.
Kind of like
the ice fishing tour.
The ice fishing tour.
Like the 3-hour tour.
We're gonna talk to her about her ice fishing adventures, and she went to SHOT Show.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about SHOT as well. And she also runs Bowcast 2, the 2.0, Bowcast 2.0 podcast. So make sure you check that out. But we'll have her on next week. We'll be back again the same time next Thursday night, 7:30. Y'all take care and be safe out there.